that long day behind you. Good times lie ahead. With company worth keeping, that'll bash a smile on your head. Come on in, the door's open, you'll find just the finest folks here. Pull up a chair, grab a drink, and lend our stories your ear. Cause we're the talk the tavern. Here you're always welcome. The talk the tavern. Promising beer and bedlam. The talk the tavern. Music, medicine, then some. The talk the tavern. The song's over. Here we come.
Well, good evening and welcome to Talk of the Tavern. Tonight's topic is food fights. We'll tell you a little more about what the hell that means in a minute. I want to let everybody know, perhaps a little bit of a trigger warning, because we're foul-mouthed, filthy bastards who's going to say all kinds of things. I can't say 90% chance likely, because then Kevin just avoids it like the plague the whole night. I am your host. I am Travis Sivart, author of some incredible series that are just knocking down all kinds of records. Two in particular, Silver and Smith Chronicles, which is like Indiana Jones meets Pirates of the Caribbean meets Cyberpunk. And then also Portals, which is actually my best-selling series. But anyhow, moving on from that. Disclaimer, adult show, adult language, adult topics, adult attitude, and just generally a bad attitude from me this week. So I'll try to be gentle, but I guarantee these guys over here will make sure I don't get out of hand. Let's start with our foreign guest, our foreign correspondent, the Brit.
Sleaze from overseas.
Nice.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Kevin, the show's minority, the token Brit. This evening I'm drinking strong black coffee because it's just gone 1 o'clock in the morning here in the UK as we go live. Although later on I've got a couple of bottles of Ghost Ship by Adnams Brewery, which is a nice 5% citrus ale that I'll be smashing my way through later. I'll be smoking hand-rolled drum tobacco, and I should be particularly bitter and sour. And my trigger warning is that I have a fondness for using the word cunt if I need to make Travis happy.
Cunts too.
And I shall hand over to someone who is as dark as my soul, my brother Ed. How you doing, man?
Hey, folks, it's me. It's Ed. Good to see everybody tonight. I'm drinking orange juice, and I won't be gentle unless you want me to. If you need me to be gentle, I'll be gentle.
Well, just remember, you're going to pull my hair. Really, the mustache is the only choice of what you could grab.
Stop manscaping so much.
Yeah, I'm suddenly terrified by the fact that it's called a handlebar now. But anyhow, I also forgot to mention my vices tonight. I've got some bourbon, but I don't know. I'll drink some and probably some Coke. Probably won't smoke anything tonight. Just not much in the mood for it. Also wanted to ask of our chat here what your vices are and why you guys are throwing your vices in. I do want to remind the people listening on podcast that you can join us live at twitch.tv/Travis Tavern Talk every Monday night when we record this live for the podcast. We also, as I have mentioned, have a live studio, well, not so studio, audience via chat, who will be reading off some comments and stuff from. When you hear this noise, that means we're going to read some comments. And also for chat, keep in mind we're recording a podcast, so we might not get to every comment unless if it's a especially amusing or relevant, and preferably both. But, we'll work with what we got. Let's see, what else? Do I have other warnings? Oh, what is that noise? Oh, that's Andrea playing with her pussy. Well done. Yeah, we have bonus pussy noises too.
Cool.
I love that noise. Anyhow, don't forget our other podcast, Stealing for Survival, which is a medieval fantasy tabletop role-playing game set of the worlds that Portals is in. What else I got? Other podcasts, Right Night, and we got merch. I think I'm done. Okay, let's talk about the actual topic. So food fights, or maybe it's foods fight, I don't know. we're going to talk about all kinds of things. People who fight over different foods, whether it's their favorite, whether it's allergies, whether it's intolerances or afflictions. We're just going to talk in general about food and that kind of stuff. So Kevin, you've worked in the restaurant. By the way, let's give a quick raise of a glass to Pickle Lady Elizabeth.
What up, girl?
Like the whole crew is here.
Bonsoir.
So I love her little mustache shot glass there. It's okay. So Kevin, you've been in the food industry for how long now?
Oh, wow. If you count since I stopped actually being a chef myself, getting on for about 28 years now, but I was a pro chef for 21.
Very good.
Pro chef, I suppose I should explain. So I worked at 3 Rosette level, which is 1 level in the UK below Michelin star.
Right, and that's a fat white tire guy, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I was just under a fat white guy.
How'd it feel having a
Yes.
fat white guy on top of you?
Well, you should know, bro.
Tire.
No, I always pick the top.
I always looked at the Michelin guy and thought, is he made of the polar opposite of white wall tires? Because he's like all white tires.
I think, dare I say, it may possibly have been, given the age and creation and locality of Michelin as a brand, it may possibly have been racially motivated.
Oh,
White
I knew
tires?
he was going there.
Yeah.
'Cause-
Don't get me started. Don't get me started because you're talking about racism and the French, which is going to drag me for the entire hour well off topic, as you well know, from 7 years of doing the shows. Yeah, food. Did you have a question about that? So.
Sure. What's some weird shit people have bitched about food? You got some stories?
Oh man, everything. Literally everything.
Really?
People will complain. Yeah, when it comes to bitching about food, there's literally probably nothing I haven't heard.
You ever had somebody complain that their salad is too green?
Well, the balance of a salad, like there's too much of this and not enough of that. Well, it's our fucking salad, And not being funny, but normally a salad has the ingredients listed. You've always got the option when you order to say, "Hey, would you ask the chef if he might put a bit less of that and a bit more of that?" This is the problem. People don't ask. Okay, here's a top tip for anybody who ever dines out anywhere. I don't care if you're going to a burger restaurant or a fancy restaurant. When you read the menu, that's the big list thing that tells you what's in the food. If you think to yourself, I'd rather that was slightly different, then ask for that. Don't be afraid. We would rather adapt a dish for you and sell it to you, have you order it, and then fuck around complaining and sending it back because it's not what you hoped it was going to be. All right? It's not pick and mix.
No.
You are paying for a product.
The reason some people might be confused by this is because there's times you order shit straight off the menu with no changes and they still get it wrong.
Okay, you got to bear in mind that you're talking about 2 different things there. That's bad service, right? I can't apologize for that. I can't allow for that. You choose where you dine, all right? If your service is shit, by all means, fuck off and eat somewhere else, But as a customer, don't be afraid to be specific if you want your food to be specific. That's what I'm saying. People will order something going, that sounds about right. And then it turns up and it's not what they want, and they go, oh no, I'm going to complain now. Sorry, that's not right. Not right to who? I made the fucking dish. I created it. I designed it. I priced it up. I put it on the menu. If you don't like the way I've done it, tell me beforehand or ask. If it's a salad and you don't like too much green leaf in it, ask, what's the proportion of green leaf in that salad? It's not a difficult question.
Yes,
Ed.
As the creator of a dish, though, isn't it somewhat insulting when somebody wants to change it?
No, I mean, you have to allow for the fact that, okay, so every chef has a style. So you could give 4 different chefs the same 6 salad ingredients, Ask them to knock up a salad, and they might chop it 6 different ways, use 6 different proportions, and create 6 salads that look utterly different. Okay? So you have to allow for the fact that any dish you create yourself that's not a strict classic, if you like, that's always done that way, is your interpretation. And some people may not like your interpretation. They may want to change it.
Okay.
And I would rather adapt something and still sell that meal at that price to that customer and have them go away happy and go, do you know what? I went there and I didn't want that, so they changed it for me. I like that. I'm going to go back and eat there again, rather than be pretentious and all precious about it. And you do get a certain element of that, especially the higher you climb in those cookery echelons. But that's because the competition is fierce. I mean, competition in catering is like that, near the top. In fact, it's more like that. Travis.
Couple of comments from chat here. Weird One says, had someone complain that their meal was just the way they ordered it. They wanted a surprise. Elizabeth has jumped in and agreed. Don't ask, don't get. Andrea says, I had someone get upset because the salad was too green. The lettuce was too green. And then she says, I ordered off the menu, but they added extra not listed, and I had to send it back because it would kill me. I hate when that happens. Which, that's a true story. There's been times where we look very carefully at the ingredients, in theory, listed on the menu, and then it comes out with mushrooms that were not listed anywhere on that menu. And then...
Yeah. So, I mean, food allergens is a weird thing, okay? The technology, the appreciation of it, the identity of the 13 major allergens, I think it is where I'm now. Everybody knows what they are. The packaging, the identifying, I can't speak for the precise standards in America because I know we probably have different food labeling standards and so on, but in the UK, any allergen that's in an ingredients list is now listed in bold, so they stand out, so they're easier to identify, and so on and so forth. But technology just got to the point, okay, so I work for a chain now. You come into my place, I have a handheld tablet like an iPad. You can tap on there is the pictures for the allergens that you have, and it shows you a redacted menu with everything that's dangerous to you removed from it, so you know exactly what your choices are. So it's literally idiot proof. It's brightly colored pictures, bosh, everything done for you, so you don't get any of this customer taking your staff's time up saying, can you tell me what's in this? Is this okay for gluten-free people? It's like, easy, press the gluten-free button. Now, if you can't see it, it's not safe for you. It's as simple as that. So, but then that's all right if you've got a chain and you've got the resources to utilize software like that. But if you're a mom and pop 6-staff cafe in the middle of nowhere, you probably don't have access to that. So
Wrong.
It's become a real... Well, okay, you do have access to it.
And it's not unreasonably priced. I know because the Mexican restaurant I worked here in town had that available. Now, this is 4 years ago or something, so it wasn't quite where it is now. This was before every restaurant had it. But they would walk around with an iPhone or an Apple iPad, and yeah, you could just pick out exactly what they want, and it's a matter of touching the screen to add or remove ingredients. And that was years ago. And they had this technology. They just never put it in because their cooks didn't want to learn how to read the screen instead of reading a handwritten ticket.
Yeah, I mean, my tills are set up even for instructions to the kitchen, so for any dish, you can hit a button on the till that adds instant messages like with mashed potato instead of chips, or, veg instead of peas, or all that kind of stuff. So instead of your staff having to go through what they used to, where you hand type messages to the kitchen.
No, nothing.
So I mean that. Well, sorry.
You didn't even hear what I was saying, did you?
No.
Okay, no big deal. Elizabeth says flat beers. In America, it's too damn common to pour a beer without any head. I'm a lady. I like a little head. And I have issues. I live too far from friends to meet up for dinner. Okay, I don't think the restaurants can help you with that part, Elizabeth. Table in your front yards? They'll give them time. Grubhub.
I've done weirder stuff in the past. I've made special tables appear on all kinds of weird places. Middle of a cricket pitch, that was an interesting one, on the crease.
Aha. See? Wordwin there says, there was a place I rather liked for lunch, but everything they had on the menu had an ingredient I couldn't eat. Finally, figured out something with a couple substitutions I could do, but the third time I ordered, the manager was like, we can't do this. All ingredients are measured out and factored into supply orders. My reply was, don't worry about it. This will be the last time. Never went back. And that's how you do it.
Yeah, and I think, to be honest, speaking from somebody who's worked in the industry for years, you've got every right to do that work. When you're talking about, yeah, okay, that might actually be true, especially in a larger chain, you know, or even
Right.
when you've got a business that owns half a dozen menus, say. They may well have their pricing well on point. You know, it makes good fiscal sense to do so. But you're also talking about, you have to bear this in mind, the number of customers who would have that amount of limitation with your menu is minuscule compared to your turnover.
Mm-hmm.
So if you lose a few pence, cents, dollars, whatever your currency, that's not the point. The point is, I would give you that meal at cost. I wouldn't worry if you came in once a week, twice a week into my restaurant and you ate that same damn meal every time. And every time I made it for you, I made absolutely nothing on it. Because you're buying drinks while you're there and you're coming in for dinner with your friends and I'm making money off them. And because I want to keep all my customers happy. So yeah, damn right if they're not prepared to do that for you, walk. Because it's not like you and 1,000 other customers have asked them to do that this week. This is what a lot of restaurants forget is, yes, sometimes it can be an annoyance. Sometimes it requires you operating outside of what you'd consider operational norms for however your restaurant runs. But it's, despite the fact that people talk about, oh, allergens are everywhere these days, the media talking about allergens and awareness of allergens is everywhere, but the actual proportion of customers bringing allergens to the table, if you like, if you'll pardon the pun, is not massively increased from where it was 10 or 15 years ago. Travis.
Thank you. It's, yeah. I don't know. I forgot. It's one of those. I tried to jump in like 3 times, and I was waving at the screen, and yeah, I don't. Even,
I know I didn't see you.
Or hear me. Yeah, I don't even know where I was going now. Oh, it was something about there are certain restaurants. If you ask for tuna fish sandwich without mayonnaise, sure, saying no is fine. If you ask for unbreaded fish sandwich and they've just got frozen fish fillets, yeah, that's fine. But yeah, to have something like I want a salad with no onions, or I need my pasta over rice, or my pasta sauce over rice instead of over noodles, or whatever. There's no reason you should be able to adjust like that. But if they're just bringing everything in kind of pre-made and they're reheating it like a lot of chain restaurants do,
Yep.
yeah, there's a chance. So has anybody ever had a food fight in any place that either of you ever been in?
Yeah.
I was a chef for 21 years. No, I've had a food fight or two.
Well, not with the employees. I'm talking with the customers. Because I know the employees will get the food and some stuff.
Once or twice, but you in defence or just standard excuse, there is normally vast quantities of alcohol also involved. I don't think I've ever been in an occasion where someone has just decided it's socially acceptable to fling food in a restaurant, unless they were smashed first.
See, Wordwin there says, couple of food fights during school, but yeah, I remember stuff like that, especially if it's just a few of kids getting into it. He also had said earlier that a place I worked at had a 10 versus 100 people rule. Happy customer will tell 10 people. Unhappy customer tells 100. And that was before the internet. Oh, did you want to read your comment out loud to that there, Kevin?
I said exactly. Yeah, it's so easy to lose a reputation and hard to gain one. And I mean, yeah, I've not. It's not the 10 versus 100, but I've heard all kinds of versions of that down the years. And the key point is, yeah, even now, especially now with things like TripAdvisor, but bad news spreads fast. You know, you let a customer down or you give poor performance, and they're going to tell everybody, because let's face it, it's human nature. We like to bitch. You know, if you've ever tuned into this show at any given point in the last 7 years, you will have realized that people like to come on and moan about things. It's human nature. We're not always so quick to tell everybody about every positive experience we have in our life. So it's hard for a good reputation. It takes time to get around because it takes consistency and performance to do that.
It's true. It's true.
But behind the scenes in kitchens, I guarantee you there are some phenomenal food fights.
On occasion, yep.
Well, yeah.
Especially when you find something
No,
gross that somebody else really hates. That usually ends up flying.
Travis, I know, I'm pretty sure Ed said he has at some point as well. You guys have watched like Monty Python at some point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Have you ever seen a Monty Python sketch that's called the Fish Slap Challenge?
Yeah.
It's basically two guys stood by the side of a canal hitting each other with increasingly larger fish until one of them gets beaten into the canal.
Yes.
I and another chef reenacted that one day in a kitchen with a whole range of fish, starting off with a mackerel and progressing to me hitting him in the side of the head with a 4-pound bass and opening a gash in his cheek with a dorsal fin.
Cool.
That'll do it.
Allegedly.
Yeah, it's not the kind of fish I like to get hit in the face with.
To be fair, this was long before I became at the top of my game when I worked at a seafront restaurant that had the amazing name of Baywatch on the Beach.
Where else would Baywatch be besides the beach?
This is a question that was drunkenly asked after work many times, never to a satisfactory philosophical conclusion.
Elizabeth says, I've had issues and will be open with my server. I do appreciate managing. And so I make sure if something surprisingly good happens to tell the manager. I like to point out those responsible for the goodness and thank the manager and the worker. I have always felt that same way about sex.
Mm-hmm.
If it's good,
It's
I like to make
important,
sure
you
I
know.
tell the manager.
Yeah. So they'll let you back again.
That's right.
So my company actually have a thing that they do. It's a requirement in all of our venues, and it's called the Surprise and Delight Box. And it's basically like the cardboard storage boxes that you get for storing files and stuff in.
Yeah.
It's basically one of those. In it, we have things like little plastic children's toys and little cloth children's toys. We have blank birthday cards that just say generic things like wishing you a happy birthday. We have anniversary cards, things like that. The idea is if a customer comes in and they say, oh, it's George's birthday, that's why we've come in tonight. While George is having his dinner, I grab one of those blank birthday cards, whip round, all the staff sign it, and at the end we give George a bottle of wine to take home on us with a birthday card signed by all of the staff saying happy birthday, George. You know, or if they've got kids and the kids are crying and they're, it's spoiling the evening for the family or whatever. Hey, look, I've got a toy. Do you want to play with this? We have literally a box of stuff that's designed to literally try and improve the customer's experience of dining with us.
It's so much better than just walking out without pants and using that same question.
Is there anything I can do to surprise and delight you?
Look at this. I got this. You want to play with this?
Yeah, that's not something I offer to children.
Yeah, no.
Not just in the restaurant, but
And there's a good chance that the parents will stiff you afterwards too.
Boom, boom.
So, It's
I'd like to point out to anybody listening from the UK that my restaurant will be perfectly safe to come back into when the lockdown lifts on December the 3rd. We're very much looking forward to see you. And yes, we are still taking Christmas bookings by email via our website. Thank you very much.
So here's an interesting topic. I like this idea. Wordwin says, there are times I rather wish more restaurants had a no children area. Like a no smoking area. Well, of course, all restaurants now pretty much no smoking, but yeah, it's
Yeah.
people find this very offensive, and I'm like, nope. I would even pay
Nope.
extra for nobody under drinking age allowed in the building.
Yep.
I've seen it done.
Really?
It can be done, and it can be done very effectively. But generically speaking, unless you can afford to limit your customer base, it's normally done by having a section in a much larger establishment, rather than having an establishment exclusively non-children. If you've got, for example, a building with a central bar that's split into two halves, I've seen it done with families in one side and over 18s only in the other side.
Right.
The restaurant I worked at for many years, well, about 7 years, the sort of peak of my career, the restaurant rather than the pump bar. So the pump bar was like the everyday food. The posh restaurant had I think it was 14, over 14 only, just because some of the dishes contain trace amounts of alcohol. You know, some of the sauces have
Right.
alcohol that's not denatured and stuff. So in order to be able to dine, you've got to be, by British law, over a particular age, even just to consume that minimal amount of alcohol and stuff. So
Wow.
yeah, there's reasons and there's reasons for doing it. And it can be quite effective, to be honest. Yeah, there is a section of people.
That's a great.
Travis.
That's a great idea. And Wordwin there says, for the longest time, I think this is valid too. One of my favorite places for lunch was a strip club. The catered buffet was top notch and no kids. And I've had other friends who would go to the strip club for buffet and
Mm-hmm.
buffet.
That was their excuse.
Mm-hmm.
It's but yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with, even if it's just topless servers and you're not doing it to attract the creepers, you're doing it to keep the kids out. I'm sorry, there's titties and booze. You're not allowed in. So, they could even have topless men, but please,
I was
let's
going to say I can't think of a better way to advertise to children. It's somewhere that they want to desperately try and sneak into.
Hmm. Children try to sneak into the strip club?
I know, I mean, into a restaurant that
Oh,
says it's got
okay.
titties and booze.
Oh. No, you think it would only be ones like who are weaned or unweaned that would be trying to sneak in?
Both.
Andrea says, I used to be a cook at a strip club for lunch. Some of the dancers were close to being a kid, high school during the day and dance at night, and they'd have business lunches during the day. Weirdwin says, I wasn't allowed there at night, but I was okay with lunch. They didn't let you in at night?
Can I go back to Andrew's comment?
Yeah.
I'd like to hear more about what kind of business lunch a high school stripper has. Like, who are they meeting for a business lunch? What kind of tax deductible meeting is taking place there? I'm just curious. I would like more details on that.
Huh. Hmm. That is a fine question. It's so.
Probation officer, maybe.
What are the 12 allergies or 13 sins or whatever it was?
Oh
you were
man,
calling?
don't ask me to list all of
Okay,
them.
well I know we got like soy and
No.
nuts and
Yeah,
fungus.
I mean, there's multiple different types of nuts, mushrooms,
Shellfish.
shellfish.
Floral?
Not so much, no. Oh man, trying to think now. Put me on the spot.
Ah. Apparently, Wordwin's office manager worked at that strip club part-time at nights, and for some reason, he was the only one she put on the blacklist.
Oh, they weren't having the business lunch. They were the dancers.
They were the buffet.
Because nothing says classy executive business lunch like a high school stripper gyrating inches away from your pizza.
It's, they'd order the fish dish. The others would order the sausage dish. Yeah, I would never go
If you wanted to share it for two, you could always have one that's called the double entendre.
There we go. The surf and turf. Get a little fish, get a little beef. It's enough for everybody there.
I think we've taken that line of conversation about as far as we dare to.
I don't know.
Well, not as far as we dare to. But...
That's right. It's perhaps beyond the realm of good taste, if you will. So, okay. With the allergy thing, we've all had a friend or known somebody who claims to have a level of dislike of something, but to make it easier, almost a coward's way out, instead of just going, hey, I don't like that, can you not put that on? They're like, I'm allergic, it's horrible, it'll kill me, and it'll make my dog shit for a week. What?
I think it's a more extreme example of what I was saying at the top of the show. It's just being too afraid to say, I don't like that. Yeah, I've seen it. People come on with, because we know that there are certain things there are no allergic food reactions to, right? Yes, there's some questionable grey areas still that are being researched.
I think any of your food that's turned grey, it's probably a warning sign anyway.
Yeah. Don't eat that.
Yeah, possibly, yeah. But the catering trade, no, we're not stupid. There's a whole bunch of stuff that we've heard. I've got an allergen to, and there is no allergen to it. You're making it up. Some of it is obvious. Some of it, it's a bit, possibly,
Like the one guy that went into the fancy restaurant you're working at, and he was like, yeah, I do not want the silverware. I have the allergy.
Boo.
Boom, boom.
And they're like, there's no such thing. Which actually, I guess there could be, because there are people that are allergic to certain metals.
Curiously, it has a strong preponderance or a strong leaning towards particular vegetables. Some people just don't like vegetables or some kinds of vegetables. So I've heard that a lot. The amount of broccoli allergies in the world are phenomenal.
Broccoli allergies, huh?
Yeah, I've never seen anyone come out in a broccoli rash, so I can only assume it's a bit like paralytic shellfish poisoning and that it kills you within 4 hours of the onset of the symptoms, because I've never actually seen anyone survive to walk around going, look at this horrendous broccoli rash. Call me a cynic, because I am.
I usually pronounce it different, but you can use the word cynic instead. It's, Ed, what about you and the food fight thing?
I don't have an allergy to it. I fucking hate liver. And I don't care how you cook it. I'm not going to like your liver. Everybody says, you'll like my liver. I'm not going to like your damn liver. Texture? I hate liver.
Is it a texture thing instead of a flavor thing?
It's a deep blood taste. Can't. No.
Andrea says, I have a reaction to uncooked carrots. I'm wondering if it's a an excited reaction. I don't know.
Here's a random tip for you. Cook your carrots in orange juice.
and vodka.
No,
Yeah.
drink the vodka while you wait for the carrots to cook. Just drink the vodka in neat shots. That's my recommendation. Absolutely down for consuming the vodka. Just don't waste it in the pan.
I went
But
out
yeah,
to eat a month or two ago, and I ordered a whiskey neat. And the people I was eating out with, they're like, "Oh wow, listen to you." That guy brought me a glass, not this big, smaller than this, topped with ice, with a shot of whiskey in it, and I'm just like, yeah. It's. I don't think anybody understood what I meant when I said whiskey neat. I'm like, is that phrase so out of style now, so gone that nobody understands it in the bartending industry anymore? Because it wasn't a young kid.
not in the UK. I can't speak with America, but I think most British barmen would automatically know that you meant with absolutely nothing in when you say neat.
Yeah, my thought is if I wanted something in it, I'll pull my straw out of my water and drop a few drops of water in and call it done.
Mm-hmm.
I miss the good old days when I was a kid and I was first having my first illegal pints. If you ordered a neat whiskey in an English pub, it automatically came with a ceramic jug of water.
Really?
In fact, breweries and whiskey manufacturers especially would have branded ceramic jugs made so that when water was brought to you to go with your whiskey in your glass, it was in a branded thing that advertised their brand of whiskey.
Cool.
Nice. It's how
That's a
big?
tradition that's long gone now, but
How,
was commonplace in pretty much every pub when I was a child.
how big was the jug?
Hold about a pint, I suppose.
Okay.
They weren't big because clearly, you weren't expected to be putting a vast amount of water with your whiskey. It was a courtesy to give you that much.
Well, I
But
wasn't sure if it was like coffee creamer carafe size, where
no,
it holds
they
like
were a
2, 3
decent
ounces.
size. I think the concept was, if you had four of you all sat around and you all had a whiskey, that the one jug would have done enough for four of you
That
probably,
makes
or you
sense.
could have one and then it would sit next to you and they didn't have to keep bringing you a fresh one because you could have a few drinks without needing to top the water up.
Couple of comments here is Andrew, of course, talked about carrots before. I have a reaction to uncooked carrots. I love carrots, just have to cook them. Says, I have cooked them in orange juice before. Think you're the one that suggested it to her years ago. And then I'm not sure what she was responding to, but she says, all they hear is blah blah alcohol. Oh, me ordering it neat. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
true. It's true. But also I wasn't sitting at a bar ordering. And I ordered Jameson's because I knew they're gonna have that as a mid-shelf alcohol. If you go too high, and I definitely didn't want the well whiskey.
I always say to all my bar staff that you need to keep your pace steady but slow. Don't ever rush and always listen to the customer's order carefully, because food wastage is calculated differently to alcohol wastage, or at least it is in the UK. Again, I can't speak for how the financial system works over there, but if I lose food, I lose it at what it costs me to buy in.
Right.
So if I buy, say I lose a portion of pie, a ready-made pie, to me that's probably 80 pence. It's less than £1 a portion, and I'm selling it to you for 3, 4, 5, whatever.
Right.
So I'm losing 80p. If I lose a shot of alcohol, that's calculated sale price. So if I'm charging you £1.30 for that shot, I'm losing £1.30. Which is why if a customer comes to me with a complaint, the first thing I do is offer them coffee and dessert on the house. That'll cost me pennies on the pound compared to offering them a round of free drinks, which is going to cost me more money.
It's a fair point. Fair point.
And the biggest amount of wastage in the bar trade isn't dropped drinks or smashed bottles like you might think. It's fucking up customer orders. I'm sorry, you've given me orange juice, I asked for pineapple juice. Or, I asked for the pink tonic and you've given me this instead. Or, wrong mixers, putting ice in drinks they didn't want them in, stuff like that. Then you've got to remake it and I end up with wastage. And yes, that's recorded and factored in, but that's where the biggest amount of wastage is.
Andrew and I went out and she ordered a specialty drink, something they had on special in the restaurant, and it was, some kind of martini, like a blackberry martini or something. and she asked for no garnish because the garnish was a lemon, not wedge, but a slice or a orange. And she's like, I don't want that. And they brought it out with it, and she's like, yeah, I don't want that. I'm not going to drink it within that. I don't want it on the edge of this. Please take it back. Make me a new one. They left, came back, handed her another drink. It had seeds from the thing they had taken off the side and thrown away in the bottom of the drink.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's when we're like, this isn't fresh. At this point in time, why don't you get the manager? Just take that off the bill, and we're good.
Mm.
And that's again one of those things where you're like, guess it's just not worth going again. Or
Yeah.
if not, we're just not going to trust that. Which, by the way, so everybody knows, that was Outback Steakhouse, where you don't expect a lot out of them, but considering they're a chain, you think something as simple as "don't garnish my drink" would be pretty easy to cover. I just feel like it's not listening.
Kennedy says, I asked for burger. You gave me beef Wellington again.
No, I've never had beef Wellington. I'm guessing that's burger.
Oh, no. Oh, no, it's not. And Travis, you're missing out. Immediately get online the moment this show finishes. Find the nearest restaurant to you that sells a beef Wellington and go and buy one. Tell me how much it costs you, and I'll back you the fucking money for it. I'll throw it in PayPal or Patreon or something for you. Go and buy yourself a beef Wellington if you've never eaten one in your life. What the hell have you been doing with yourself, man?
Not seeing it on a menu. Yeah, it might not be going to the, they're thinking filet mignon is the...
It's unlikely to be in an Outback Steakhouse, let's put it that way.
Right. I'm guessing I'm going to a Ruth Crisp or something like that.
Yeah.
I have no idea, but...
That's the fancy big, where you're... For your sirloin, you're going to spend $50. For your ribeye, you're spending $70. And for a filet mignon, you're putting down $100 for a 6-ounce. And that's... Yeah, exactly. That's kind of... I'm like... I can't imagine the food tastes that much better that paying 4 to 5 times the price you would anywhere else is worth it. And I don't imagine the atmosphere is all that good.
Andrew's just given me a new lockdown crusade. She's just messaged me in chat and said that there is no place near you that has beef Wellington. I'm bored, I'm stubborn, and I'm on lockdown. I'm going to find Virginia's beef Wellington.
And Kennedy
That sounds nasty.
What he just typed there?
She's going to find Virginia's beef Wellington.
That's a good point. That's our meaty little flaps. Kennedy says it's made with beef tenderloin. It's actually filet mignon wrapped in Parma ham and inside a puff pastry.
It's also, if you're doing the full version, so you toast bread and then you spread mushroom duxelle and pate on top of the bread so you have a layer of mushroom duxelle, then a layer of pate, and you sit the beef on top of that before you encase it in the puff pastry.
Yeah, I have to agree with Andrea. She says I think it'd be just cheaper to fly Kevin here to make it for me.
Done.
Yeah. You can bring Fred with you if you want. We don't mind. We've got a spare room just for him.
Oh.
And he has the cutest British accent when he meows.
On cue, he's wandered off.
You wonder if he meows, our cats would look at him like, what kind of fucking accent was that?
Quite possibly. He's got the weirdest meow as well for a cat that spent most of his life semi-feral and is quite big and a badass. He's got a pathetic mew. You know, you see that? All these, but he can't meow properly to save his life. If he was a lion, he would have had the shit kicked out of him when he was young.
I think cats all have the same size voice box, and the bigger they are, the tighter it's stretched, so the higher pitched it is. Because our smaller cats are like, dude. And our big 20-pounder is like, hey. Yeah, it really seems to
The
just like,
big gay owl of the cat world.
no, just, no, say, you know, just high pitched, and whereas, I almost said our ladies' cats are just like, hey, how you doing?
Andrea, you don't have to worry about mushrooms because if I make it for you, I won't put any in. You can make Ducel out of all kinds of stuff anyway, so that's easily adapted.
I know what I usually make a deuce out of.
Ducel, it's a reduction of very finely diced vegetables in cream, so it's almost as thick as a pate because you cook off almost all the liquid. So it's like a very thick puree.
Interesting. It's so it has nothing actually to do with dropping a deuce at all.
No, no, it's a French word. Duxcelle, I believe it's spelled.
Deuce is a French word too.
It is.
Yes.
It's yeah. Ooh la la. Okay, Andrea's asking us to book a flight. Should we pay our homeowners taxes?
It'd be cheaper if we all chip in to bring me there,
right,
than both of you to come here.
That's what we were saying. Book a flight for you to come here, and
it'll happen eventually. I'll make it to America one day. I have plans.
I'm curious now. But do you want to share your plans?
Yeah, maybe. There's a couple of things I'd like to do. I mean, obviously, one of the main driving reasons is that I'd really like to come and see you guys because I've never been to America, which would be another particularly good reason as well. It's another country across off the list.
Right.
But I got a couple of other friends over there. My childhood best mate that I grew up with here on the island lives in Portland.
Right.
And so I kind of, and then there's another Kevin Crew who I'm friends with on Facebook, who lives not far north towards Seattle. So I kind of might try and include a trip across to the Portland area as well to try and catch up with Damien. And if possible, create one of those iconic moments where we get two Kevin Crews from 4,000 miles away in the same place at the same time for a beer together.
Word one would like you to specify which Portland? Oregon.
Oh, Oregon. Sorry.
Oregon.
And Kennedy says America wants you to come here.
Do I need to look to see how come was spelled? Oh, no, it's okay. It's fine. Yeah, okay. In that case, I'm down for it. I would love to. I've always said I'd quite like to go to the States. Something that's been sort of conjectured many times over the years and just never seems to have happened, but it's on the cards, hopefully, for sooner rather than later now.
Oh, I was about to ask, what are you talking about? But yeah, we're still on the same topic, aren't we?
Yeah.
I thought you were opening. I thought you were segueing into something there.
No.
So let's see here. What else can we talk about with this food fight topic? I think we're kind of ran through the paces here. So I tell you what, we'll wrap up this episode of Talk of the Tavern. I want to thank everybody for joining us. Thank everybody for all those bits that they threw. You know who you are. As well as everybody who followed, hosted, rated, etc. I want to thank everybody who watched and listened via podcast. Probably more likely listened, because watching is boring when you're on a podcast. And also remind you folks that you could email us at talkofthetavernshow@gmail.com, and I'll play some outro music, and we'll catch you guys next time. Thanks for joining our discussion shenanigans tonight. You're the one thing that makes the show what it is. Don't forget to join us at the tavern next week. Until then, have fun, keep learning, and be good to one another. Now, raise your glass in good cheer. Enjoy the small moments every day and steamy dreams every night.